Have you ever thought that the leftovers sitting in your fridge, those same meals you reheat the next day, might secretly be putting your health at risk? Most people believe that reheating food is harmless, even convenient, especially after the age of 70 when cooking fresh meals every day can feel exhausting. But doctors are now sounding the alarm. These everyday habits, the small things we don't think twice about, can be the very reasons why older adults face unexpected health problems like foodborne illness, memory fog, and even long-term organ stress. It's not the big, dramatic health scares we usually imagine. It's the little choices, like what you put in the microwave, that can quietly change the course of your golden years. Take a moment to picture this. You make a hearty spinach soup on Monday, refrigerate the leftovers, and then warm it up again on Wednesday. Seems harmless, right? But scientists have found that certain foods, when reheated, undergo chemical changes that can produce toxins, reduce nutrient value, or even promote the growth of harmful bacteria. And while younger adults may shrug off a stomach ache or fatigue, after 70 the body's defenses are weaker. What once was a minor inconvenience can now trigger a dangerous infection that takes weeks to recover from. This isn't about fearmongering, it's about awareness. Researchers across Europe and the United States have studied the link between reheated foods and adverse health outcomes in seniors. Some of the most concerning findings involve starchy dishes like rice and potatoes, nitrate-rich vegetables like spinach, reheated chicken, and even eggs. These aren't exotic or unusual meals, they're the everyday staples most of us rely on. And yet, when handled the wrong way, they can quietly harm your health, sap your energy, and even impair cognitive function. Let me share a quick story that sets the stage. Margaret, a 76-year-old grandmother from Denver, Colorado, loved making large batches of vegetable stew for her family. One weekend, she stored a pot in her fridge, only to reheat it again and again throughout the week. By Friday, Margaret was in the ER with severe nausea and confusion. Doctors explained that the nitrates in leafy greens like spinach had degraded into nitrites after repeated reheating, affecting her oxygen levels and triggering what's sometimes called blue baby syndrome in older adults. Margaret had never even heard of such a thing. "I thought I was being efficient," she said. "But it nearly cost me my health." That's the reality doctors want seniors to understand. It's not just what you eat, but how you store and reheat these foods that matters most after 70. The truth is, your habits around leftovers could either keep you healthy or quietly sabotage your body's natural defenses. And in this video, we're going to reveal the 5 specific foods you must never reheat, backed by stories like Margaret's, supported by medical research, and explained in plain, everyday language. So, stay with me until the very end, because these 5 things might surprise you. Some of them are probably sitting in your fridge right now. And by the end, you'll not only know what to avoid, you'll also learn the safe habits every senior and their family must adopt to protect their golden years. Food number 1, rice and starchy foods. Let's begin with one of the most common foods in kitchens across America and Europe, rice. It seems so harmless, right? You cook a pot, eat some, and store the rest for later. Seniors often think rice is one of the easiest things to reheat, just add a little water and microwave it. But here's the hidden danger: rice can carry spores of a bacterium called Bacillus cereus. These spores are heat-resistant, which means they can survive even after cooking. When rice is cooled slowly at room temperature or reheated the wrong way, these spores can multiply and produce toxins. And here's the scary part: those toxins are not destroyed by reheating. For younger people, food poisoning might mean a rough day with diarrhea or stomach cramps. But for older adults, especially after 70, the risks are far greater. Dehydration sets in faster, weakness lingers longer, and a single night of vomiting can trigger dangerous drops in blood pressure or interfere with existing medications. According to the CDC, seniors over 65 make up the most hospitalizations for foodborne illness in the United States, and rice dishes are a surprisingly common culprit. Take James, a 74-year-old retiree from Austin, Texas. He loved cooking large batches of fried rice, storing portions in the fridge, and reheating them throughout the week. One evening, after eating his usual reheated rice, he suddenly developed nausea, dizziness, and diarrhea. Within hours, he was admitted to the hospital. Doctors quickly identified Bacillus cereus toxins as the cause. "I never knew rice could do this," James admitted later. "I always thought if you heat it enough, it's safe." But in reality, once the toxins are there, no amount of reheating will make it safe again. Scientific studies back this up. Research published in the International Journal of Food Microbiology highlights how storing rice above 41 degrees Fahrenheit 5 degrees Celsius for more than a few hours gives bacteria the perfect environment to multiply. After reheating, the toxins remain, and seniors, with slower digestion and weaker immunity, are at the greatest risk. That's why food safety experts recommend cooling rice quickly, within an hour, storing it in the fridge, and consuming it within 24 hours. For seniors, the safest habit is to cook only what you need and avoid reheating rice altogether. And it's not just rice. Other starchy foods like boiled potatoes, pasta, and even oatmeal can carry similar risks. When left at room temperature and then reheated, they can harbor bacteria and toxins that slip past unnoticed. These are the invisible things doctors warn about, habits that feel normal but pose hidden dangers after 70. The solution isn't to give up your favorite comfort foods, but to change how you handle them. Cooking smaller portions, refrigerating immediately, and eating leftovers cold, when safe, instead of reheating can dramatically reduce risk. So here's the takeaway: rice may look innocent, but for seniors, older adults, it can be one of the most dangerous leftovers if handled carelessly. These habits around rice and other starchy foods are not just suggestions, they are must-follow rules if you want to protect your health. Remember, it's not about fear, it's about staying one step ahead so you can enjoy your meals without worry. Food number 2, leafy greens, spinach, kale, and beets. Now let's move on to another surprising culprit, leafy greens, especially spinach, kale, and beets. Doctors often recommend these foods for seniors, older adults because they're rich in iron, folate, and antioxidants, things that support heart health, bone strength, and brain function. But here's the catch: when you reheat these greens after they've been stored, something chemical happens. Nitrates, which are naturally present in leafy vegetables, can convert into nitrites when reheated. And high levels of nitrites are linked to reduced oxygen delivery in the blood, which can trigger headaches, dizziness, and in severe cases, oxygen deprivation. For seniors after 70, this can be particularly dangerous. The heart and lungs may already be working harder to supply oxygen to the body. Add nitrite exposure into the mix, and suddenly what should have been a superfood meal can create unexpected health stress. Researchers in Europe have published studies showing that reheating nitrate-rich vegetables increases the risk of nitrite formation. While nitrites themselves aren't always harmful in small doses, they can form compounds called nitrosamines, some of which are considered carcinogenic. Let me tell you about Edith, a 79-year-old from Manchester, England. She prided herself on eating healthy, often making big batches of spinach soup at the beginning of the week. One Thursday, after reheating the soup for lunch, she suddenly felt lightheaded and weak. Her daughter rushed her to the hospital, where doctors explained that excessive nitrite intake from reheated spinach had temporarily lowered her blood's ability to carry oxygen. Edith was shocked. She had always believed spinach was the safest food she could eat. "I thought I was protecting my health," she said, "but I was doing the very things I should avoid." This doesn't mean seniors must cut spinach or greens out of their diet. In fact, they remain some of the most beneficial foods for health. The key lies in habits. Cook only the portion you plan to eat, or if you must store them, eat them cold in salads rather than reheating. The World Health Organization has noted that limiting reheating of nitrate-rich foods is one of the simplest steps seniors can take to avoid unnecessary exposure to nitrites and nitrosamines. So here's the bottom line: leafy greens are powerful allies for seniors, older adults, but only when handled the right way. Reheating them can turn healthy things into risky ones, especially for those over 70. If you want to keep your brain sharp, your blood flowing, and your energy stable, you must avoid reheating spinach, kale, and beets. And before we move to the next food on the list, let me ask you, are you still with me at this point in the video? If you are, type number 2 in the comments below so I know you're paying attention. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe, and share it with your friends and family who might also be seniors looking for safe health habits. Together, we can spread wisdom that could save lives. Food number 3, chicken and poultry. Another food that often surprises people on this list is chicken, one of the most common protein staples for seniors' older adults. Doctors frequently encourage seniors to eat lean meats like chicken instead of red meat because it's lower in fat and supports muscle health. But here's the hidden danger: when chicken is reheated after sitting in the fridge, its protein structure changes. This isn't just about taste or texture, it's about health. The breakdown of proteins during reheating can make chicken harder to digest, and in some cases, it can even lead to gastrointestinal distress. But that's not all. If chicken isn't cooled quickly and stored at the right temperature, bacteria like Salmonella or Campylobacter can grow. Reheating might kill some bacteria, but it doesn't always neutralize the toxins they've left behind. For seniors after 70, this is especially risky. As the digestive system slows down with age and immunity weakens, what would be a minor stomachache for a younger person can turn into days of weakness, dehydration, or even hospitalization for an older adult. According to a study published in the Journal of Food Protection, poultry is one of the most common foods linked to foodborne outbreaks worldwide, and seniors make up a disproportionate number of severe cases. Consider the story of Robert, an 82-year-old retired teacher from San Diego, California. He lived alone and often cooked a large tray of baked chicken thighs on Sunday, storing them for meals throughout the week. By Thursday, after reheating a portion in the microwave, Robert began to feel nauseous. That night, he developed diarrhea and a fever that wouldn't break. His daughter took him to the ER, where tests confirmed a bacterial toxin-related illness from improperly stored chicken. Robert was shocked. "I thought cooking in bulk was smart," he said, "but no one ever told me reheating chicken could be this dangerous." Science explains why. Poultry contains high levels of amino acids, and when reheated, their chemical structure changes. This altered protein can sometimes cause digestive discomfort. More importantly, if chicken was not cooled to below 40 degrees Fahrenheit 4 degrees Celsius within 2 hours of cooking, bacteria may already have multiplied to unsafe levels. The toxins they release, especially from Clostridium perfringens, are resistant to heat. So, even if you reheat your chicken thoroughly, the toxins may remain. For seniors' older adults, this can trigger rapid dehydration or even complications with medications for heart disease or diabetes. Doctors emphasize that the safest way to handle chicken is to eat it fresh after cooking. If leftovers are unavoidable, they should be cooled quickly, stored properly, and eaten cold within 24 hours instead of being reheated. Another option is freezing portions right away and reheating them only once after thawing, never multiple times. The lesson here is clear: chicken may be a healthy choice for muscle strength and overall health, but reheating it introduces hidden risks that seniors after 70 must avoid. These are the kinds of everyday habits, like reheating yesterday's chicken dinner, that can quietly undermine your well-being. And while it may feel like just another routine thing, it's often these small details that make the biggest difference for seniors determined to stay healthy, strong, and independent. Food number 4, eggs. Next on the list is one food nearly every household has: eggs. They're affordable, versatile, and packed with protein, vitamin B12, and choline, nutrients seniors' older adults especially need for muscle strength, nerve function, and memory health. But here's the problem: when eggs are reheated, especially if they've been boiled, scrambled, or used in dishes like quiche, their protein and fat composition can break down. This breakdown doesn't just change the taste, it can actually release compounds that may irritate the digestive system. For older adults with sensitive stomachs, this can lead to bloating, gas, or nausea. But digestion isn't the only concern. Studies published in the Journal of Food Science have shown that reheated eggs can oxidize cholesterol in the yolk, producing harmful byproducts that may contribute to cardiovascular stress. While the amount varies depending on cooking and storage, the risk is something doctors say seniors must avoid, especially those already managing high blood pressure, heart disease, or memory decline. The irony is, eggs are among the healthiest foods when eaten fresh, but once reheated, they can quietly become one of the riskiest. Let me share a story to make this more real. Helen, a 77-year-old from Portland, Oregon, used to meal prep by boiling a dozen eggs on Sunday. Throughout the week, she would reheat them quickly in the microwave for breakfast. After a few weeks, she noticed she was feeling unusually fatigued, and her digestion seemed off. She chalked it up to aging, but after one particularly bad episode of stomach cramps, she mentioned it to her doctor. The doctor explained that reheating boiled eggs not only reduces their nutrient quality but can also promote the formation of oxidized cholesterol, compounds that, over time, might add stress to the heart and even affect brain health. Helen was stunned. "I thought I was being efficient," she said. "Now I just eat my boiled eggs cold, and I feel better already." Data backs this up. According to the USDA, eggs should never be left at room temperature for more than 2 hours and, once cooked, should be eaten immediately or stored cold. Reheating, particularly in microwaves, creates uneven heat that can encourage bacterial survival in spots that don't reach high enough temperatures. For seniors after 70, with immune defenses naturally weaker, even mild bacterial exposure can cause bigger problems than it would for younger adults. So, what's the solution? Eggs are still an incredible food for seniors' older adults, but the habit must change. Instead of reheating, enjoy boiled eggs cold in salads or sandwiches. If you love scrambled eggs, cook only the portion you'll eat fresh. These small changes in habits can go a long way in protecting your long-term health. And before we move on to the last food on our list, let me ask, are you still with me in this video? If yes, type number 4 in the comments below. That way, I'll know you're paying attention and learning with me. And don't forget, please like this video, subscribe to our channel Golden Age Wisdom, and share it so more seniors can discover the habits they must avoid to stay healthy. Food number 5, mushrooms. Finally, let's talk about a food many people don't suspect at all, mushrooms. They're light, nutritious, and delicious, packed with antioxidants, B vitamins, and even compounds that support the immune system. Many seniors' older adults enjoy them in soups, stir-fries, or as a side dish. But mushrooms are also one of the most delicate foods when it comes to reheating. Why? Because of their protein structure and high water content. Once cooked, mushrooms begin to break down quickly, and reheating them can cause changes in their composition that not only reduce their nutritional value but may also trigger digestive issues. The problem is magnified when mushrooms aren't stored properly. If they sit at room temperature for even a short period, bacteria can multiply rapidly. Reheating later may kill some bacteria but won't neutralize the harmful compounds already produced. Seniors after 70, with slower digestion and more sensitive immune systems, are the ones most at risk of stomach upset, nausea, or even foodborne illness. According to a report in the Journal of Food Safety, mushrooms are highly perishable and should be consumed within 24 hours of cooking to minimize risk. Let me share a real story. Martha, an 81-year-old widow from Chicago, loved making creamy mushroom soup. On Sunday evenings, she would prepare a large pot and enjoy it over several days, reheating small portions each time. After one midweek meal, she suddenly felt bloated and developed stomach cramps that lasted through the night. Her son insisted she see her doctor, who explained that reheating mushrooms can alter proteins and make them harder to digest. On top of that, the soup had been sitting in the fridge for nearly 5 days, well beyond the safe window. "I thought soup was safe if you just boiled it again," Martha said. "I didn't realize mushrooms are different." Scientific data supports this. Mushrooms contain proteins and amino acids that are highly sensitive to changes in temperature. When reheated, especially after several days in the fridge, they can form compounds that some digestive systems, particularly those of seniors, struggle to process. Moreover, mushrooms also contain polyunsaturated fatty acids, which can oxidize when reheated, producing free radicals. These free radicals, over time, may contribute to cell damage, inflammation, or even memory decline if such practices are repeated regularly. So, what's the best habit? Experts recommend cooking only the portion of mushrooms you plan to eat immediately. If you want to prepare them ahead of time, store them in the fridge and eat them cold in salads or sandwiches rather than reheating. Freezing cooked mushrooms is also an option, as it halts bacterial growth and preserves nutrients for longer periods. The important lesson here is this: mushrooms may look harmless, but the way they are handled after cooking makes all the difference. For seniors, older adults determined to protect their health and memory, avoiding the reheating of mushrooms is not just a suggestion, it's a must. These small adjustments to daily eating habits are the things that protect you from unnecessary risks, helping you stay strong, independent, and full of energy even after 70. Final conclusion. Now that we've gone through all 5 foods, rice, leafy greens, chicken, eggs, and mushrooms, you might be feeling a bit surprised, maybe even unsettled. After all, these aren't exotic, unusual ingredients. They're everyday foods, the things most families and seniors, older adults eat every week. And that's exactly why this topic is so important. Sometimes it's not the big, dramatic choices that shape our health after 70, it's the small habits. Reheating foods that seem harmless might quietly increase your risk of infections, digestive problems, or even long-term health issues like cancer or memory loss. The stories of George in Boston, Edith in Manchester, Robert in San Diego, Helen in Portland, and Martha in Chicago show us something powerful. These aren't rare accidents, they're examples of what happens when good intentions meet hidden risks. Each of them thought they were doing the right things for their health. Cooking at home, saving food, eating healthy ingredients. But the way they handled these foods after cooking changed everything. Their experiences remind us that knowledge is as important as nutrition itself. You can have the most balanced diet in the world, but if the habits around it aren't safe, your health may still suffer. Science backs this up. The World Health Organization and countless food safety experts emphasize that seniors after 70 must be extra cautious about how food is stored and reheated. Immune systems naturally weaken with age, digestion slows, and the body is less resilient against bacteria, toxins, or chemical byproducts from reheated foods. That's why doctors and dietitians warn, some things you must avoid altogether. And while it may seem inconvenient to cook smaller portions or eat leftovers cold, these changes could save you from days, or even weeks, of illness. But here's the hopeful part: once you know better, you can do better. You don't have to give up your favorite meals. You just need to shift the habits around them. Make fresh rice in smaller portions. Enjoy leafy greens cold the next day instead of reheating. Freeze extra chicken instead of leaving it in the fridge for days. Eat boiled eggs straight from the fridge without microwaving them. And cook mushrooms only when you're ready to eat them. These are small, manageable adjustments, but the rewards are enormous: better digestion, stronger immunity, sharper memory, and most importantly, the independence and vitality seniors cherish most after 70. So, my question to you is this: are you ready to take control of these everyday habits and protect your health? If you've made it this far in the video, I want you to type number 5 in the comments to let me know you're with us all the way. And before you go, please don't forget, like this video, subscribe to our channel Golden Age Wisdom, and share it with your friends and loved ones. You never know whose life you might change simply by passing along these lessons. Your health, your independence, your wisdom, these are treasures worth protecting. Thank you for staying with me until the end. May you enjoy many more years of strength and clarity, and I'll see you again in our next video on Golden Age Wisdom. Thank you for watching this video until the end. I hope it was useful, and see you in the next video.